by Brahma, could understand him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Verse number 34, we recite that. Okay. Rishaya Uchu Jitam Jitam Te Jita Yagna Bhavana Trayim Tanum Swam Paridhunvate Namah Yadroma Gateshu Nilyur Adhayas Tasmai Namaha Karna Shukarayate Rishaya Uchu Jitam Jitam Te Jita Yagna Bhavana Rayam Tanum Swam Paridhunvate Namaha Yadroma Gateshu Nilyur Adhayas Tasmai Namaha Karna Shukarayate Rishaya Uchu Jitam Jitam Te Jita Yagna Bhavana Rayam Tanum Swam Paridhunvate Namaha Yadroma Gateshu Nilyur Adhayas Tasmai Namaha Karna Shukarayate. Gentlemen.
Rishaya Uchu Jitam Jitam Te Jita Yagya Bhavana Trayim Tanum Swam Paridhunvate Namaha Yadroma Garteshu Nidyur Adhaya Tasmai Namaha Karna Sukarayate
Lady? Rishaya Uchu, the glorified sages uttered. Jitam, all glories. Jitam, all victories. Te, unto you. Ajita, O unconquerable one. Yagna Bhavana, one who is understood. One who is understood by performance of sacrifice. Trayim, personified Vedas. Tanum, such a body. Swam, own. Paridunvate, shaking. Namaha, all obeisances. Yat, whose. Roma, hairs. Karteshu, in the halls. Nililyu, submerged. Adhaya, the oceans. Tasmai, unto him. Namaha, offering obeisances. Karana Shukaraya, unto the hog form assumed for reasons. Te, unto you. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All the sages uttered with great respect. Shivara Goplanand Ki Jai, Sitaram Lakshmanan Maan Ki Jai, Gaur Jai Ki Jai, Vishwadamdar Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. All the sages uttered with great respect, O unconquerable enjoyer of all sacrifices, all glories and all victories unto you. You are moving in your form of the personified Vedas, and in the hair holes of your body the oceans are submerged. For certain reasons you uplift the earth. You have now assumed the form of a boar. Purport. The Lord can assume any form He likes, and in all circumstances He is the cause of all causes. Since His form is transcendental, He is always the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as He is in the causal ocean, in the form of Mahavishnu. Innumerable universes generate from the holes of His bodily hairs, and thus His transcendental body is the Veda personified. He is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, and He is the unconquerable Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is never to be misunderstood to be other than the Supreme Lord, because of His assuming the form of a boar to lift the earth. That is the clear understanding of sages and great personalities like Brahma and other residents of the higher planetary system. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkepatamam Vande Shrim Guru Dinatarinam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyecha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So there are many beautiful incarnations of the Lord. They said the incarnations of the Lord are as many as the waves of the ocean, But we have certain incarnations who perform different pastimes. And there's a nice song called the Dash Avatar Stotram. Who's sung that before? It's a very beautiful song. There's one of I think verse number 3, it talks about Lord Varaha, because in this particular verse it's talking about Lord Boar, So Lord Varaha, he takes the body of a boar, but he is not boring, And he's very exciting on the contrary, And all the Lord's incarnations, they always are doing incredible things, and the Lord appears, to protect His devotees and to annihilate the miscreant, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashchayata duskritam. To annihilate the miscreants, He can, send a tornado or a whirlwind or an earthquake or, some tsunami, or He can, give them the intelligence to make some nuclear weapons and they can blow each other up. So he doesn't have to personally come to annihilate the demons. But He does as His pastime. But more he comes to enact his pastimes to attract his devotees back to the spiritual world. So this is a song by Jayadev Goswami. I'm just going to read, I think, one or two of the verses. Vasati dasana sikare dharani tavalagna shashini kalanka kevala nimagna keshavadrita shukara rupa jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare jai jagadisha hare. This is, from this song we get our famous Nrsimha Pranam, which is verse number 4, Tavakara Kamala Varena Kam. So I'll read the translation of the verse number 3. O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed the form of a boar, all glories unto you. The earth, which had become immersed in the Garbhodak ocean at the bottom of the universe, sits fixed upon the tip of your tusk like a spot upon the moon. And then there's verse number 11, it says, Sri Jayadeva Kaveridam Uditam Udaram Srinu Sukham Dam Supadam Bhavasaram Keshavadrita Dashavida Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. So that one is explaining, O Keshava, O Lord of the universe, O Lord Hari, who have assumed these 10 different forms of incarnation, all glories unto you. O readers, please hear this hymn of the poet Jayadev, which is most excellent and a warder of happiness, a bestower of auspiciousness, and the best thing in this dark world. So these songs of these great Vaishnava acharyas, they are the conclusion of all the Vedic teachings, Like in Hindi, they would say, Sab Shastro ka nachor, for those of you that understand Hindi. So we are fortunate, Srila Prabhupada and all the great acharyas have made available to us these transcendental nectarian literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literatures. There's Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana and Mahabharata and so many other books. So we're very fortunate. We have all these transcendental literatures and nectar to immerse our consciousness in and to associate with the divine personalities who are enacting their pastimes within the pages of these literatures. So Ananta Gopal Prabhu has been doing Krishna book reading every night during the month of Kartik in Srila Prabhupada's rooms, and some of the Krishna book actually was dictated in those rooms, So they're on the marathon now, last few days, to try and actually finish the whole Krishna book. So they started off doing 1 hour a day, but now they're doing, yesterday they did like 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I think they've only got today and tomorrow to finish. So anyway, some of you, I've seen some of you there. If you get a chance, go and visit. But to absorb ourselves in the pastimes of the Lord, and especially when the essence of those pastimes is given by the pure devotee, that is, it's pure nectar, So, yeah, and Srila Prabhupada wrote, anybody who reads this Krishna book, they will become a devotee. And then if in the front you read George Harrison, he actually paid for the publication of Krishna book. So I don't know if you know the story. Shyam Sundar Prabhu, he was talking about it because Shyam Sundar was very close to Srila Prabhupada. And of course he was very close to Srila Prabhupada, but he was close to George Harrison, his friend. So Srila Prabhupada asked Shyam Sundar, can you ask your friend George Harrison if he can give a donation to publish Krishna book, because I've finished the manuscript, So Shyam Sundar said, Srila Prabhupada, I really don't think it's a good idea, because George Harrison is a very famous person, he's very wealthy, and everyone's after his money, So if we just ask him for a donation, he'll think we're just like them, we're just after his money. So Srila Prabhupada said, no, Krishna book is very important, it's a very wonderful book, and it'll be nice if George Harrison can give a donation to help to publish it, And then Shyam Sundar was saying, Srila Prabhupada, I really don't think it's a good idea. So then Srila Prabhupada said, okay, So tell him that your spiritual master is asking if you can give a donation to publish Krishna book. So he said, okay, what can I do now? So that day, George Harrison came to Bury Place Temple, and he took Shyam Sundar with him. He said, come, I want to show you somewhere. So he took him to a place that they do marble, and he bought a massive, big slab of beautiful marble for the temple, and he spent a lot of money on that. And then later on, Shyam Sundar was at George Harrison's house in the evening, and he was thinking, look, he spent the money on the marble, and on top of that, I asked him for more money for the book. So he was kind of thinking, muster up his courage, and he said, well, I can't go back to Srila Prabhupada and say it can't be done. Anyway, he said, George, Srila Prabhupada is asking if you can give a donation to publish Krishna book. So George, he was looking at him, and he said, how much? So he gave a figure, I think it was £5,000. I think in the early 70s, £5,000 was a lot of money, more than it is now. So then George kind of made a face like, But then something happened. There was a big bang, and all the lights went out in the house. And then after a minute, the lights came back on again. George was smiling, beaming, I think something happened, lightning or something hit the house, So George was smiling and beaming. He said, how can I refuse after that? So in the foreword, George Harrison has written something very, very beautiful, Like he says, he's saying that everyone is looking for Krishna, but they don't know it, And he said, at the end, all you need is love, All you need is love. And he said, Krishna and then Haribol, signed George Harrison. And because of George Harrison and the Beatles, our Krishna consciousness movement has become more accepted in the West, because it's personalities that people, they worship and they respect. And if they are into performing, if they're into Krishna consciousness, they must think it's okay then, Yad yad acharasti shreshas. Whatever a great person does, then common people, they will follow. So here, so the Lord takes he appears as a boar, and like boars, they have a tusk, and they dig, in the ground, and they can take things out of the bottom of sewers and whatever it is. Like you see sometimes in Vrindavan, you see some hogs there, you think, but so Hiranyaksha had been exploiting the earth, and it had fallen in the bottom of the Garbhodak ocean. So then the Lord assumed a very transcendental form of Lord Varaha, and then he entered the ocean, and he took out the earth and placed it in a safe place before he went to fight with Hiranyaksha. And those of you who have seen this movie, animated movie recently, Mahavatar, Nrsimha there. Yeah, in there, Hiranyakashipu is there as well. So the brother of Hiranyaksha is there, the brother of Hiranyakashipu. So, of course, they are Jaya and Vijay. So when the Lord wants to fight, he has to send his own devotees because the other demons are not up to the task, So anyway, this passed on to that. So the Lord, he was fighting with Hiranyaksha, and Hiranyaksha had his mace, and Lord Varaha had his mace, and the Lord was playing with him. And then Lord Brahma and the demigods were saying, "Oh, come on, don't, finish him off, don't put us in anxiety." And then eventually, the Lord Varaha, he just nonchalantly, he hit Hiranyaksha behind the ear like that and finished him off. It's insignificant. I think, so the Lord Varaha, he's and other incarnations of the Lord, they are very unique and wonderful, and they come to protect the devotees and to reset and maintain the universal order. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 9, some of you are very familiar with all the verses of the Gita. It says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham purnarjanma naiti mam iti sorjuna. So it says, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving this body, take his birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So very powerful and beautiful verse here. So one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving this body, take his birth again in the material world. What a benediction, you know. So how can we know about the Lord's appearance and how can we know about his activities unless we use our human form of life to hear the topics of the Lord and study the topics of the Lord and recite them. If we are absorbed in the Lord's name, qualities, form, pastime, and activities, and his service, and associate with his devotees, and we are following the instructions of the great Acharya, then we are bound to we are bound to get transcendence from this material world. So some years ago, UK was doing a Brexit, you know, from Europe. They wanted to separate themselves from Europe. So Pranabandha Prabhu, he was saying, he said, we don't only want Brexit from Europe, he said, we want Brexit from the material world. You know? So that's the goal of life, is that, you know, we become attached to so many things here in this world, and they bind us, you know, life after life. But by coming in contact with the Krishna consciousness movement, we have such a beautiful opportunity that we can make this our last life in the material world, and we can really do something wonderful while we are here, you know. So anyway, it's very, very important to absorb ourselves, and there's a couple of other nice verses which I found very interesting. Okay, here we go. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 8, text 36, and it's from the prayers of Queen Kunti. Some of you may have learned the prayers of Queen Kunti. Shrinvatam gayanti grinanti abhikshana, smaranti nandanti tavahitam jana, ta eva pashanti arichena tavakam, bhava prabhavo paramam padam bhujam. It says, O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Wow. So, O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. So, yeah, beautiful verses by Queen Kunti. So if we want to stop the repetition of birth and death, then we have to see the lotus feet of the Lord, and we have to see that the lotus feet of the Lord are our only shelter. We continuously hear and chant. And in connection with that, in the first canto, chapter 2, 28 to 29, there's a very famous verse, a couple of verses. It says, Vasudeva paraveda, Vasudeva paramakam, Vasudeva parayoga, Vasudeva parakriya, Vasudeva param jnanam, Vasudeva param tapa, Vasudeva paro dharmo, Vasudeva paragati. There's a lot of Vasudevas. So, what does it mean? It says, in the revealed scriptures, the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifices is to please Him. Yoga is for realizing Him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by Him only. He is supreme knowledge, and all severe austerities are performed to know Him. Religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto Him, and He is the supreme goal of life. You know. So once we went to somebody's house, they had bought a set of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they wanted us to do an installation ceremony. So we did an arti, and we put the books up, we put some flowers and everything. And then I read some verses from the first canto, and this is one of the verses I read. That He is the object the ultimate object of knowledge is Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. The purpose of performing sacrifices to please Him. Yoga is for realizing Him. All fruitive activities are ultimately rewarded by Him only. And He is the supreme knowledge. And all severe austerities are performed to know Him. And religion, dharma, is rendering loving service unto Him. So I said to them, I said, okay, this is, the essence, This is what Srimad Bhagavatam is all about, Now, if you can't appreciate that, then you maybe have some brain cells that are working in opposition, and canceling each other out. But this is the essence, like that. And sometimes people say, "Oh, why you worship Krishna? There's so many gods and so many this and that." this verse tells you why, like that. So, our whole activities are aligned to somehow the absorbing ourselves to please Krishna, perform sacrifices and austerities to please Him, to surrender unto Him, and religion is rendering loving service unto Him, which is the ultimate goal of life. So, in the towards the end of this chapter, there's a couple of nice verses and a special benediction. So, if one hears and describes in a devotional service attitude this auspicious narration of Lord Bore, Varahadev, which is worthy of description, the Lord who is within the heart of everyone is very, very pleased indeed. So if we want to please the Lord, then we can hear and chant, and we can share the pastimes of His devotees. And it's very, very easy, and it's very nectarian. So I usually share a few Sankirtan stories when I do the class, so just to make sure no one falls asleep, So some of these stories are up in Scotland. I was there for 17 years in Kurunavalan Temple. So we were part of the Scottish Yatra. The Scottish Yatra in the 90s, they had all of Scotland and the whole of north of England. And we had a Sankirtan house in Yorkshire. So I was looking after the Sankirtan house, I was the Sankirtan leader there. And we had 2 vehicles because we had quite a few devotees, and we had to go and distribute books in all different towns. But every evening we had a Namhata or a Sangha program in the evening in that town after. So on this occasion, I'd been asked to beg boga, for the temple, huge quantities of boga, and I was thinking, well, how am I going to do that, But in those days, I had to go to the library and do the yellow pages and look for companies and then, send a fax to them. There was no email or anything. And anyway, some companies, they did, donate like pallets of rice or flour or British sugar. They gave like 1.2 tons of sugar and all kinds of stuff. So we had all this kind of boga at the Sankirtan house. And then we needed a truck, 7.5 tonner to take it to Kurunavalan. So we went to this company in Leeds. It's called Leeds Commercial. And then we went to see the boss. His name was Mr. Moore. And he said, yeah, what can I do for you? I said, we have got lots of food stuff that have been donated, but we don't have a vehicle to take it so that we can cook it and distribute it, And he said, well, you can hire a truck. I said, well, all this stuff is donated. We were hoping you would donate the use of a truck. He said, well, 7.5 ton a truck, you just expect me to give it like that? I said, no. I said, we'll give you something in return. He said, what will you give me? I said, we have some nice cookies here, and we have some nice books here, some spiritual books. He said, cookies and books. And then, and we said, I've got some nice Goranga stickers as well. He said, Goranga? He said, you guys. He said, every time I drive into Leeds, I see this on the bridge. There's a Goranga up on the bridge, Is it you guys? I said, well, just between me and you, yeah. So he said, when I come in, I saw one letter was fallen off, So if you put that one up, I'll give you the truck, So he donated a 7.5 ton truck for 3 days, free of charge, And then we had one congregation member who was supposed to come and drive that truck from Yorkshire to Kurunavalan and take all the boga. But then he got sick or he got mental or something, he didn't turn up. And I thought, for God's sake, And then we only had 2 drivers and we had 2 cars. And that day we had one program in Blackpool, and the other program was in Hull, which is the other side of the country. And we had a Namhata program as well in both places. So I thought, okay, fine. I'll drive the truck to Coonabarabran, Scotland, and I'll send one devotee to Hull on public transport because he can distribute books, but then we have a program that's advertised in the Friends Meeting House, so he can do the program otherwise. So it's Daru Brahman, he's in Scotland. So we sent him with his rucksack to Hull, and then the other party went to Blackpool, and I drove the 7.5-tonner truck to Coonabarabran. So this devotee, Daru Brahman, he got to Hull and distributed books, and then he got his dhoti on in the evening, went to Friends Meeting House, they set up the altar and everything, and made the fruit salad or whatever. And that day, only one person turned up. Sometimes a lot of people were coming, but that day only one person turned up. But that was a Spanish boy, and he hadn't received a book, but his friend was in town in Hull, and he got given a leaflet. They tried to sell him a book, but he didn't want a book. But he took a leaflet for the Namhata. So he brought it back and just put it on the table in the student's residence. So this Spanish boy is looking at his leaflet. What's this? He said, some of these Hare Krishna crazies, they gave me this. So he's looking at it. He said, it looks interesting. So he turned up at that program. And Daru Brahman was he went by public transport. He met him there. And he said, this boy's really interested. So we invited him to the Sankirtan house. And then he started to come out on Sankirtan with us. And within a few months, he actually joined the temple. Yeah. And he's now teaching in Mayapur. I think some of the girls from Mayapur might know him, Radhika Nagara. He's teaching Bhakti Vaibhava or something, or Bhagavatam, isn't it? Yeah. So he joined our Sankirtan team. Now, if that devotee hadn't gone on that day and thought, forget that, that program, that one person came because of a leaflet, that was, he would have. But Krishna's got so many arrangements, And then another one in Liverpool. We were running a preaching center in Liverpool in Ball Street before. Titikshu was there, but then he had to come to the manor to take his kids to Gurukul. So Scottish Yatra was asked, can you take over the running of the Liverpool preaching center? So we were running the Yorkshire Sankirtan House, and then we took over Liverpool as well. And so we were doing nice programs there. They like to eat in Liverpool, like that. We met one boy, very tall boy, and he was studying at the University of Liverpool, and he was studying, architecture, archaeology. So we met him on the street, and we gave him a book and everything, and he said, I got one of these books. He said, where did you get it? He said, I was in what's it called, charity shop, and I got this book called Life Comes from Life. And then when I read it, it was really incredible, So then we gave him another book, and he started coming to the temple, and I was the first one to take him out on Sankirtan, And then I had the task, he wanted to join the temple, so I had the task to take him to Warwick, because he was from a kind of wealthy area, nice area, to take him home and then get all his stuff and explain to his mother that he wants to become a monk, So she wasn't very impressed. I think she had my picture on her dartboard for quite some time, But after some time, when, he became he got married as a devotee and things, his mother forgave me. So she also comes to the temple now. But that's Chaitanya Vallabha. He is the temple president of Newcastle Temple, Yeah. So when you're out there, you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what's going to happen, And the other day, I took some devotees to Hatfield, a shopping center. They needed some warm clothes, So I always carry a book or some Mahaprasadam Mangalati Sweet or a Gauranga sticker or something, So we met some people there, shopkeepers, and we were saying, can you say Gauranga? He said, Gauranga. He said, yeah. He said, I've got 2 of these, yeah. And then we had some Govardhan Maha Prasad that we were posting out to the patrons. And then I gave one of these. He said, I said, we have some of your books in the back and we read it, So just sharing. And at the health food shop, we gave a book, Elevation to Krishna Consciousness. The guy lit up, said, "Wow, I've been waiting for something like this." And we gave him an invitation to be a monk challenge, So wherever you go, it's not that, only on a Saturday you're allowed to give out books on a Saturday or something, Wherever you go, you can take, something, prasadam, books, a holy name, you can share Krishna consciousness with people. That's people every day waiting for the mercy. And then I'll just finish with this. This is very funny. This was at Kruna Bhavan in those days. We didn't have mobile phones. And just outside the temple room, we had a landline phone. And during the morning program, the phone was ringing. So I went and picked it up. And this guy on the phone, some Scottish guy, Luckily, I'd learned to understand what they're saying by then, Like otherwise it's, I don't know, I'm away, I'm the rate, I'm host, Like that. So, so he's saying, he said, "This Hare Krishna temple." I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, there's many things I don't agree with. I don't agree with the philosophy. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with that and this. And I don't agree with it." So I was thinking, this is the middle of the morning program. If I argue with him, I'm going to lose an hour. I said, "Okay, that's fine." I said, "Well, okay, just call back when you do agree with it." And I put the phone down. Well, I didn't have an hour to waste arguing with someone, Anyway, maybe he phoned back when he did agree with it. But anyway, I think we have to stop now. I always run over time. So if there's any question, they can come and ask me after. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Lord Varaha ki jai, Kartik Vrata ki jai, Vaishnav, all glories to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Now become full-time now. Is Anita complaining or is she happy?
Oh, it's all right.
She's okay. He's okay. She gets some peace while you're here.
Yeah, I think.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You're so blessed.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah,
This time not gonna come.
We
Like
need more
said.
people like you to take Krishna consciousness because you are prominent people in the community, and if others see that prominent people are taking Krishna consciousness seriously, then they say, oh, we have to do it as well. Yet you have absolute cessation.